My name is Hope Ginsberg. I'm a visual artist, and my work is interdisciplinary and often takes place over long iterative projects. So Meditation Ocean builds on past projects, which is really the way my work moves forward. And a pedagogical project inspired by sponges really put me into the water. And for that, I learned to scuba dive. And it was in scuba diving that I became so aware of the connection between diving and breathing and meditation. And I'd also learned to scuba dive after an accident in which I fractured my sternum and a bone in my spine. And so when I learned to dive and I could feel my spine sort of resilient excuse me, against the torquing of the tank on land and underwater, this connection was forged for me between diving and healing. And so that constellation of diving and breathing and meditation and healing inspired a body of work called Land Dive Team. And in that body of work, groups of scuba divers meditated on land with their tanks, breathing the air from their tanks in sites that had some environmental implication. So for example, in Land Dive Team Bay of Fundy, a group of scuba divers meditated at the shore of the Bay of Fundy, which is known to have the highest tide rise on the planet. And so as that tide flowed in and rose on the bodies of the meditating divers, they disappeared below, leaving only their bubbles hitting the surface of the water. And so it was diving that led to making a project called Swirling, which was a 3-channel video installation that captured or presented the process of underwater coral farming to reveal its intricacies and its contradictions to viewers on land. And so I would say that Meditation Ocean really evolved synthetically from Land Dive Team and Swirling. So the indoor video ocean of Swirling really invited some of the participation of Land Dive Team, and even from the earlier sponge project. And so the notion was to create an indoor ocean in which people could really participate and meditate individually, as a group, and with the other species that were living on the reef. So I'm part of something called the Meditation Ocean Constellation, which is responsible for the Meditation Ocean project. The constellation is comprised of artists, musicians, curators, filmmakers, editors, writers, divers, meditators, scientists, and it's a collaborative, porous team of contributors, many of whom I've worked with in the past. And it comes together very organically through relationship, through dialogue, and through people's incredible talents and skills. And so this piece is really the result of an ecology of contributors and takes the focus off of any one individual. I hope that viewer participants who experience Meditation Ocean start with an experience of embodiment, that this environment shifts their own relationship to the felt sense of their bodies. And I hope that what begins with an individual embodied experience expands to a collective sense of well-being. I hope that sitting with the divers on the seabed provokes a sense of collectivity. And I hope that jumps species. I hope that a sense of well-being between human and more than human species is conjured by the piece. And then I also hope there's some connection made between the social and the environmental through the experience of the work.